Hey everybody. Hey, in this episode, we are going to talk about how you became a genetic driven person, right? So, what's interesting is if we go back in time to like our basic like monkey ancestors, we have where there was monkeys that live in a tree, right? And it's like they would consume around that tree, whatever the case is. But then there would be a deviation in our genetics to go, hey, there's a tree way over there. I'm gonna be the one to explore and see if it's safe enough and it's like it has fruit and all that kind of stuff. And so you go and you explore that tree, find out that it's good, come back to your tribe, your group, and see that it's like, hey, this was a good thing. And then it's like your whole tribe can move over there, or some of them can stay and move, whatever the case is. But you took the risk and you had that reward, right? So that's kind of the foundation of when we talk about what a driven is. A driven person is somebody who will take those risks to get those rewards. And the hard part is sometimes those risks are more than we can handle, and sometimes they're not. But today we're going to really talk about how we got there in the first place. Now, okay, so in that idea of how and what kind of person we are, it's interesting to know that as that drive happened to want to move forward, it actually became genetically wired in us. And what's fascinating is we have the stories from high school, we have the stories from college of genetics and how it works, and it's like the taller giraffe got the food, and then a taller one, and a taller one. And then even in the wild, you have the fastest cheetah caught the prey, the fastest gazelle got out of the way of the prey and kind of continued. Now, what's interesting is that obviously took thousands of years for evolution to do those things. But what's really neat when you stop and you go, that took time, but then as humans, we have this complex neocortex on our head, right? And that allowed us to actually outthink and master our domain faster than natural selection allowed that for like the cheetah and the gazelle to have that battle. And so nature took time, and as a cheetah could get faster at the same time a gazelle could get faster, so you have a lot of that in play. Now, for humans, though, as I said, it's like we have this neocortex that let us kind of help solve problems and hunt down woolly mammoth and bring them to extinction and set up traps and do all these things, and it's faster than nature allowed. And so, what's interesting is, so we went from a very dangerous environment and a dangerous lifestyle to a much more stable lifestyle in a relative sense, of course. We are here, and it's like we live in houses and we work at businesses, and sometimes we just work at home and whatever the case is, and we're very secure in where we are. But then the hard part is that trigger and your DNA, and it's like the DNA. I had to write it down because it's like sometimes I forget, but it's a DRD2A1 allele, or the DRD4 7R allele. It's like a lot of times when we're talking about driven people, we'll talk about D2s, D4s, not R2D4 or R2D2, because I'm a Star Wars nerd, and it's just the way I am. So I automatically go there. But so, but with that idea in mind of a D2, D4, is it is in our genetics. I mean, it is in our genetics to a point that even dangerous situations like Holocaust, there was a researcher named Rochelle Udalon, and he studied Holocaust survivors and their kids and their kids and their kids, and it's like how that impacted them, and it's like continued to be generational traumas that took place even though they weren't at the Holocaust themselves, but their families was. Think about that for your own life, how it's like as a driven you kind of have this extra danger on you, and you're kind of moving forward and you're doing these jobs, and it's like you get this sense of insecurity potentially in what you do, and that insecurity can even lead to a certain amount of imposter syndrome. Now, what do we say all this for? This isn't just to make a quick little YouTube video, it's to start helping us as drivens. If we have those imposter syndromes in us, if we have those traumas in us from our generations past that sent us down this gift of being a driven, then it makes it really hard to move forward, right? So what I want you guys to do as a little bit of homework is stop and try to take 5 minutes. Like in your car, waiting for your kids, waiting for the next meeting to happen, and just kind of close your eyes and just breathe a few times and be like, what trauma is there in my life that isn't even my trauma, but it's there and it might be blocking me? And in future videos, we'll talk about it's like different trauma release techniques that I think are fascinating, but really, really good for me, and I hope they'll be good for you as well. But just to get that comfort and that security back inside of you, so it's like you can let those things go, and then you can do those dangerous, risky things that make you an amazing, driven person. It's like whether it's just at a meeting and it's like, hey, I have this idea, I have these connections, I see how things work, or in yourself, is like breaking through it, being that entrepreneur, being whatever inspires you to be awesome, to go out and do that. So, with that said, I'm going to leave it here. Now, do me a favor, if this is kind of resonating with you, let me some comments down below, and then like and subscribe, of course, right? All right, you're awesome. Hard part with being a driven is sometimes we feel like we're broken, and we're not broken. It's like we are just wired different. We are wired different in a world that is different than we originally came from, and we are okay. And we're going to work together to lock this thing down, because I'm struggling a lot myself with different aspects, and we are going to put this thing together, and we're going to be freaking awesome. So it's cool. Take care. Be awesome. Bye bye.